What's good, y'all, and welcome to another vid. Here we have our very first real anniversary sneak peek, not just a picture but truly something. So we now have it confirmed, the gem system is going to be the anniversary celebration feature. So let's get into it and let's see if I can give you some additional information next to what is just here. But yeah, so the anniversary celebration starts on the 2nd of July. Alright, so starting on the 2nd of July, which is 8 days from now, right? Let's use calendar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 8 days, the anniversary celebration starts. Come on. Alright, so it's we get the gear and artifacts with the new gem advancement and artifact augmentation features, Merrick Solve Illusion, more thrilling content. Alright, so gem enhancement, right? Gem enhancement, we already made a video about it at the end of the day. So this is pretty much how it's going to work. You're going to unlock them based on which kind of maps you clear. The higher the gear rate stages you have, the higher chances you get for maps. And then you can use these maps to get these evolution gems. And this should also be the order in which you unlock them, which is first you get the ability to enhance a primary, then you can transform it, then you can grant it a variant, and lastly you would be able to change a secondary subset. I believe with, at the moment, the way it's shaped out to be, you need to be able to beat a stage 24 if you want the chance to get a transmutation gem. After using transmutation / refine or secondary, you can only use on that same... it's the same as always, right? If you already change a stat, you can only change that stat. Artifact augmentation, which is also the same source, and you're going to, starting from the first map, you're getting the augmentation gem, then the advanced, and then the runic one. Those are pretty easy to get and also pretty reliable, and what they do is they just increase your base stats, and these ones increase your base stats some more. These ones are capped, and these ones have a higher cap, so this is, I think, around half the total stats. This goes to double the stats. And here you can, this is where it gets interesting, because this gives you the ability to add stats like crit rate, attack percent, rage regen, HP, attack speed even as substat on your artifacts. So these ones are by far the most interesting when it comes to the artifacts. So the Hall of Illusions is where you get all these rewards. So for example, Mossy Crystal 5. You know what's interesting? These aren't released yet. I don't know what this tells you, but the highest crystal you can get at the moment is Mossy Crystal 4. So there do already exist Mossy Crystal 5. You also notice the BP is 1.5 million, with I believe a Mossy Crystal 4 stage being around 1.1 to 1.2. So anything above 1 million is true endgame content. But no matter what kind of keystone you get, the way this works is, if you've ever played, let's say, for example, Path of Exile, you get this rune, and this rune is going to have a random boss, random modifiers, but always the same map layout. And that is this map layout where you have to defend 2 cores, you have 3 platform tiles, and the rest is ground tiles. So 3 platform tiles, this one, and this one. The rest you have to deal with ground units. And then you have, for example, portals here, and then there could be some spawning here, but most of the time it's out of these 4. And what you also notice once you play any of these stages is you need to defeat up to like 100, 200, even 300 enemies. So this is when we start to finally see, I guess you could say, proper AoE content. And this... So for example, yeah, you also have to do your keystones because you can only keep 50, but specifically with this new feature, you should be excited to play it. Also, you can obviously get summoning crystals, legendary skill crystals, and refining crystals. But yeah, so enemies in the Black Sewer, they appear in large numbers, as I've said, and they have high defense and are immune to all CC effects except slow. Strong heroes with AoE attack capabilities are recommended, right? And because you can only summon, or you can only use 3 heroes on the platforms, you need someone that does multiple things on the platforms, i.e. Nerissa, Incredible healing to keep your units alive, AoE damage reduction plus inspiration on your strongest attack unit. Beelzebub, slow vulnerabilities, pull in, and also obviously inspiration. Eloin, right? Global rage regen, the ability to heal both lanes at the same time. So the more value you can get out of your platform units for these limited 3 tiles, the better. And the rest is really going to favor ground heroes. So Ardea, Lubu, Magda, Valkyra, Eris, Imrit, all those are going to see play. And you know this might sound weird, but we might even see a Giselle. Because Giselle you can place down multiple times, she has that AoE upon deployment. It would at least be fun to try her out. So pretty much everything that's ground based is at a significant advantage to platform based units just because of the tile layout. And then here the new class, the Tacticians, already been confirmed right here. So with us knowing that the whole celebration starts off at the 2nd, that means we probably can expect some more information on these within like the next couple of weeks. So yeah, it remains to be seen, but overall this is basically what we were hoping for. This is by far the most exciting game mode we know of that isn't yet introduced into the game. And yeah, I mean, all right, sure, let's just take a quick peek at the system in general. Right, yeah, so here we are. Let's quickly go through what we can do for this Wukong with the gem enhancement system. So these pieces should already give you an idea, because these pieces normally aren't possible. You cannot get this as a natural roll, so you would have to use a transmutation gem to get a stat on this piece. On the other hand, this is what we could do. For example, you could use a Darkfall gem, and you can see it's not crazy, right? It gives us the ability to go up to 85 flat attack. It doesn't change the world, but you then have, for example, a variant gem, and shroop, all of a sudden we now have 2% more attack and 10 attack speed. Unfortunately, you can only get this variant gem thing once. So for your best pieces that you have, you really only have one chance to make them incredibly great versus just great. But yeah, that is pretty much what you can do with the weapon. Chest is again similar. We can, for example, increase the HP by around 360. I think the values here at least should be a bit higher. But yeah, again, refinement allows you to get attack percent, crit damage, attack speed. So things that usually only were possible from the Forge. And we do already have it as a variant, I believe. Ancient Mythic Weapons or Bangles. No, so the chest piece obviously cannot get a variant. And this is how it looks to upgrade the main stat on a piece. You can see it's not a crazy increase. It's between 1% and 5%. Though unfortunately, what you're going to see a bit is most of the time you're getting something in the lower 50%-ish, right? It's kind of like the lowest below 50 ones are way more likely than anything above it. Obviously still requires some tuning. I hope they also take a look at these chances. But overall you can see you have an attack increase of 3.1, here of 3.1, and also on crit damage. For example, we have an increase of plus 3%, which could go up to 6%. Like for example, right here we've increased it to 4%, which that covers most of it for this gear, but this is where it gets at least a little bit more exciting, and that is the ability to augment your artifact. So you can see we've added 50% to our attack, 50% to our HP. If you look at the the common augmentation, we are already above the values. So for the common stones we cannot go any higher, but for the advanced ones you can see that we still have technically a ceiling of 1,200 and a ceiling of 4,000. And then here the runing augmentation is you can roll between 3 to 15% of any of these percentage stats, and then between 3 and 15 of healing effect, and then 10 or 50 of attack speed. So it really depends on how high you go. But for example, you can see right here we are already way above the 50% mark, closer to like the 60% mark, and this is pretty much bottom of the barrel when it comes to attack speed. Most of the time probably attack percent is going to be supreme when it comes to a DPS or even an inspiration hero, or invigoration hero better said. And no, inspiration here is true. And for tanks, obviously you kind of want to go for something like HP. So let's say, for example, I guess Torador. Let's pick ourselves a Bastion Ring. Let's augment the Bastion Ring with the advanced augmentation once. You can see it picks one of the stats and then it picks one of the values. So for example, here it would be again attack, here's HP. So yeah, you have the ability to farm these resources and then to continue upgrading your important artifact, your important heroes. And here obviously then, for example, get a 8.2% defense bonus, 14% attack speed bonus, obviously not something you desire. And then for example, you would be looking to get that HP roll, which might very well take a bit of time, or you stay with the defense roll and accept it. But again, it doesn't override your values. It lets you keep it and it lets you decide what you want to keep and what you want to discard. So that is pretty much this in a quick overview, though the most fun definitely have to be the maps themselves. Because look at this, for example, we're already sitting on 35. They've also changed the way these look now. Like instead of it saying Mossy Crystal 2, it now also says level 2 quite clearly. And this also here, Mossy Crystal level 4, I talked about it, right? It now says level 4, which reminds me we should check if we can see a level 5 map, because we couldn't before. Maybe they've added them now. So stage 24 is level 1 to 4. No, but they did kind of change the overlay so that you don't have to scroll as much anymore. But yeah, what you need to know is if you only beat stage 19, you can get level 1 to 2. If you only beat stage 20, you can still get 1 to 2. If you beat 21, you can get 1 to 3. 22 is 1 to 3 and 23 is 1 to 3. But obviously the higher you go, the higher chances of getting a tier 3 map. Now, why is it even relevant how many stages or what kind of types you can get where? That is because look at this BP requirement. No way in hell are you beating a 19 stage and then taking on an 840k stage. And also this goes only higher with color. So the lowest is green, then comes blue, then purple, then gold, and then you're finishing off with red. Pretty much the same way. Gear also rises in rarity. And then like for example here, Mossy Crystal level 3 only, 978,000 PP with a boss called the Scorched Devourer with the Gilded Warden with high attack who joins in a random area after the second wave. The Gilded Warden that also spawns at position 2, reducing the allies max HP by 25%, so you're way more vulnerable. And for the first 10 seconds after the first revival, the Scorched Destroyer cannot be blocked, which already tells you a bit about the boss in general, which is if you go to the stage right here and check out the Scorched Devourer, for example, he joins or fights you in wave 4, and you have Rekindled Ember. Upon death, he will be reborn, and then he'll do damage over time and all that. So you have to build a team to prepare. And now again, the most crucial part is going to come from this right here. Once a battle begins, it cannot be restarted. Exiting mid-battle will trigger immediate settlement and a trial keystone used will not be returned. So you can go in, you get these resources throughout the fight, and only if you finish the fight do you get the full array of resources. But one map, for example, nets us 9 to 16 of these rewards. Like for example, we could get multiple summons. Here, same scenario, you could again get summons, crystals, half crystals, advanced augmentations, darkfall gems, ancient shards, all that juicy stuff. Also right here, more crystals, refine hammers, 20 shards. That is quite nice considering that you also get 3 shards, and then obviously the big one or the bigger one with more value, as well as also the possibility to just get a divine. And keep in mind, you're getting these maps just from farming gear rates like you usually do. And honestly, the amount of them acquiring, it is going to be something you're going to spend your time on each day to do your maps, to make sure you not go over the 65 cap. Or if you get close to that, keep in mind it is going to be 50 times you'll have to play this. But that's what keeps this fun, that's what keeps this rewarding. And that has been the overview of at least just the new game mode. If you remember the image, it said new feature, new heroes, new feature, new class, and then new something else, right? So yeah, let's see what they come up with, and we at least have confirmation that it happens on the 2nd. Peace.